Welcome to the Squad Show. I'm Sam Ekstrom. We'll attempt to name a defensive MVP today from yesterday's win. Tough to do when everybody is that impressive.
I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. Gink me, Barkeep.
Hey, this is Arif Hasan at Why Left Football. I did not prepare a cold open, nor did I come up with one in the last 10 seconds.
What's happening? Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman, the ghost of Rick Spielman taking a victory lap after Eric Wilson's monster performance.
Yo.
Skol! It's the Viking Squad. Everything Minnesota Vikings every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Viking Squad Show starts now.
Hello, what is up? It's a Monday version of the Viking Squad Show after a victory in Detroit, 27-24. We're glad you're with us. We do this Mondays, we do this Thursdays, we do this after the games. We're all over the place here on Locked On Vikings, on the YouTube channel, streaming live. Find us also on the Locked On Vikings podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts, and check out Luke Braun and his daily Locked On Vikings show. We've got a lot of good, maybe a little bad, of J.J. McCarthy's return yesterday in a winning effort. The defense was outstanding against Jared Goff and the Lions. We've got nerdy stats as we do every Monday, and almost halfway stats of the season. I'll point out some interesting nuggets from the 8-game mark of the Vikings campaign. They sit at 4-4. Today's show brought to you by FanDuel. New customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Arif, you were not on the post-game show, therefore you get the first word today on a J.J. McCarthy performance that earned a win. I think our consensus yesterday was a ton of good stuff on tape. A lot of high-level throws. Used his legs mostly productively. And I know that you were hesitant all along that, Carson Wentz is bad, but is J.J. McCarthy really any better? Does yesterday alleviate some of those concerns that you had?
Yeah, no, I don't think Carson Wentz could play this well. I will say, I think that a snap-by-snap review of J.J. McCarthy is going to come out looking a little bit worse than the impression that we're left after the game. I didn't do a snap-by-snap review, so I can't say that with 100% certainty, but going over it as I was writing up my recap piece, I was a little more disappointed because I had left with a really positive impression, right? That first drive, in fact, the first quarter was outstanding, nearly perfect. The last throw to Jalen Naylor was amazing, right? Mm-hmm. And so, when you bookend a performance like that, especially in a win, it feels really great. But man, there's a lot that he has to work on, and I don't want to kind of leave with the impression that I don't think that this is a huge improvement over the first two games. I think it is. I think there's a lot to be happy with. But I think my issue is primarily that there were a lot of things that McCarthy did well at the beginning of the game that I think are improvements over the way that he played in those first two games. And I think those things kind of regressed or went away as the game went on. I think his mechanics degraded a little bit. We saw that with a couple of the deep shots. And I think that his accuracy was a significant issue, right? Especially throwing high, throwing behind a little bit. I think that the interception, which I'm a little surprised that Tom Brady live called it a tight window. It wasn't. The interception was thrown behind. Obviously, simultaneous catch, you could whatever, right? But the primary reason that could even have been a simultaneous catch is because it was thrown behind, right? And that's just one throw. You don't want to spend too much time on it, but high throws to Jefferson, high throws on short passes. I think that as time went on in the game, we saw kind of more of the McCarthy that we've been concerned about, which is still a huge improvement because I don't think he ever kind of hit that point where it was, this is the McCarthy we're concerned about. So I don't think he ever got there. And when you have those first, couple of plays, the first three plays of the drive, or the first three dropbacks in the drive, as well as a couple of other plays in the first quarter, that this is something that he's working on, focusing on, and produces really good results. I mean, that throw to Jordan Addison that he dropped, I think PFF called it a contested target. I don't remember, but that it's a drop, right? That was outstanding.
Good throw.
Right? Yeah, it was a great throw, right? And then as time kind of went on, I think we saw fewer and fewer of those throws. Even the other deep one to Addison, I don't think that was a very good throw, right? Addison, I think, did some really excellent ball tracking there. So I am, I'm not concerned long-term about McCarthy. This is the kind of improvement you want to see, right? But I don't know that we're at a spot where, like, the season, he's playing well enough for the season to begin turning around.
Yeah, Braun, I felt like it was like a wide spectrum. I wrote down, there are probably 10 plays where you could legitimately say there's a knock on McCarthy. Like, pardon me. I mean, a couple passes that were altered. One of them hit off a guy's helmet. Couple botched handoffs and a botched snap. He ran out of bounds when he shouldn't have. He threw behind people on the run. He threw over Justin Jefferson's head on the sideline. Like, there was a lot of that. But there was also another dozen plays where you say, okay, I see it. I see it. Like, Christian Ponder, you're begging. You're show me something. Don't.
Hey, Ponder could scramble with the best of him. It was just the wrong era for him to play.
It'd be totally different.
He was ahead of his time
in the league today. Like, Teddy didn't do a lot of that, a lot of the dumb stuff. Didn't also show a lot of the high end stuff either. Like, this is a different equation where you're saying, okay, I see the great stuff, a little bit of harebrainedness to the game, but you can live with that when you have the high end stuff.
Yeah, I walked into that game going like, I just want to see like evidence of the vision. I want to see that there is something here that we are chasing. And I definitely was like, if it's imperfect, if there's an interception, if he makes mistakes, if he misses a pass, that's fine. He's young. That is the stuff that they will hopefully work on as the season goes on. I think the thing that, if I'm going to be worried about anything, it's that as the game went on, the jitters kind of crept up. His feet got a lot less calm in the pocket, and that led him to, I think, make decisions that he otherwise wouldn't have made, or make throws off base that he otherwise wouldn't have had to make off base. And if you look at those inaccuracies, in particular the interception, which, yeah, maybe it shouldn't have been a pick, but I'm still counting it against him because it was not a great throw. And then the one where he sails over Justin Jefferson's head, wide open, both of those on the run. And it's just like a spatial thing. Like, he was a good thrower on the run in college and in all of the like training camps and all the times we saw, like, he's usually better at that. But in an NFL game on an actual NFL field, everybody moves a little faster, and that means the angles are different than you're used to. So I'm not surprised that some of these are ending up like behind Jalen Naylor. He's not used to throwing to guys that fast on the run.
And so
I hope that stuff. Sorry, just to wrap up, I hope that stuff clears up over time. And the like busted plays was the other one I was going to bring up. That feels like the huddle is still not being properly communicated.
Yeah,
I was just going to bring that up too. I think you the first thing, you strip everything down to the foundational stuff after those first two games. And again, only his third game, but I was kind of keyed in on the pre-snap stuff, getting the play in on time, getting to the line of scrimmage with more than 4 or 5 seconds. I thought he did check into some good plays. Sam, you mentioned it though. Still wondering how you turn the wrong way, I guess, multiple times a game trying to hand off the ball. But, controlling the tempo, things look very choppy versus Atlanta. So what were they going to look like now after a big break and coming back in your start, number 3? Up and down there, but it felt a little bit more measured, a little bit more calculated, like the operation, the rhythm this time around. But again, the bar was so low, I think, coming from Atlanta. But to Arif's point, like you start the game, 5 for 7, 2 touchdowns after you were already down 7-0. I already felt like you kind of had to have it coming off that 37-10 debacle 10 days prior. And now you let the Lions march down 7-0 already. It's like, man, is the season on the line here already? Is this going to be another blowout? To come out the gates pretty much flawless, like Arif said. That was fantastic, I felt like, because he probably felt like there was a lot of pressure on his shoulders to dig them out of that early hole. But the big gap in between, and going back to the Chicago game too, he ended with the big dramatics like he did yesterday. He started the game, though. I don't think they punched it in, but KOC's opening script got him down into field goal range, I believe. I'll have to look that up, but kind of the same performance there. Game 1 and game 3, where there's that big lull in between. And granted, I mean, call it the clutch gene or whatever you want. I mean, just a confident kind of dime there to Jalen Nailor to seal the game. That, it wasn't always pretty, I guess, but when you had to have it at the end, the ability to turn into that, just kind of confident decision maker, whether it's with his feet in the Chicago game or, through the air yesterday, wasn't flawless, but it felt like it was much more efficient, I guess, than the Atlantic.
It was not a dinky and dunky 143 yards. Like, there's some splash to the box score that the box score doesn't reflect, right? Like, you're talking about throw on the run for a touchdown to Hawkinson, beautiful throw to Jefferson for a touchdown, beautiful throw to Addison that gets dropped, beautiful throw to Jefferson that gets overturned. You've got an off-platform deep throw to Addison, which was, Arif, not the perfect throw, as Arif pointed out, but still put it in a good spot, allowed him to come back to the ball. Like, there's some high-level throws in that box score, even though he only, dropped back 25 times. 5 sacks also looks bad in the box score. I watched him back. 2 of those, I don't know how they're sacks. Like, he's running forward and falls ahead for maybe a gain, gained half a yard, and they still called it a sack. I don't understand how that counts. I didn't feel like it was not Carson Wentz level flusterability in the pocket where I didn't feel like he was inviting sacks. It was Jordan Mason.
What sport are we watching?
Jordan Mason got destroyed twice.
That was crazy.
Oh, man.
That was crazy. Also, turning one of those into a back flip, or I guess it was a front flip, but turning one of those into a flip, which good move to protect yourself, I think, actually, but also very funny looking. That was nuts.
Yeah, that wasn't on the scouting report for Michigan coming out. I don't remember seeing that on film from Michigan. Maybe I had to go back to the high school days.
Yeah, I do want to back to Jack Campbell just because of the awesome way that he manhandled Jordan Mason. No one touched him, but we'll give it to Jack. He looked good on that play.
I think we should give all sacks that way. Like, the guy who really made the play, not the cleanup guy, should get.
So Jonathan Grenard would be at 17.
Yeah, right.
Poor guy.
I do want to mention on the hand off the wrong way stuff. I believe that would be a huddle issue because it's happening that the line goes one way, the running back goes the other way, the quarterback goes one other way. That confusion. So the way that these kinds of offenses name their run plays is with numbers. So 14 will be a run play to the left, 15 will be, or 14 will be to the right, 15 would be the same run play to the left. So in a loud crowd environment, if your quarterback isn't enunciating well enough, somebody could hear 15 while everybody else hears 14, and then you end up the wrong way, which also was a problem in the first 2 games. So you have to get people on the same page. You can't have Jalen Nailor going, what's the can? That to me is the most urgent thing that they need to fix now.
It was also kind of funny, Tom Brady points out, when you say 15, well, everyone knows that's a run play.
Right. You can't shout it out to Nailor in the moment, so you just have to kind of do your best there. I think you probably just would have snapped it, and Nailor would have probably done nothing, and that's fine because he's a receiver out there.
Right.
Run play, but you got to get people on the same page in the huddle. They were breaking it at the right time though, so improve it.
That was
sure. That plus, we're continuing to see, and this is not McCarthy's fault. We're continuing, well, probably not. I guess I don't know. We're continuing to see some snap exchange problems, fewer, but still snap exchange problems. I don't love being part of this experiment where Blake Brandel learns how to play center for the first time. It's not fun. I don't like
anything you are gonna do in the next 24 hours.
Delta Froholt. Cardinals center. Did the Cardinals play tonight? So if they lose tonight, they're 2-6. It's sell. They're selling in the morning.
Yeah, they got it. So right? we got to cheer against
Cowboys.
The Cardinals.
Let's go.
Oh,
stay
that
healthy.
felt bad. Stay
healthy, Froholt. Let's get to the defense after this. The defense was relentless. They were impressive. They were creative. They almost all showed up. Really good work from Brian Flores. We dive in after this.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Thank you, Cody Rourke, Locked On Broncos. This is a good time to incorporate some nerdy stats, too, because there was some great stuff coming out about the Vikings' defensive performance. Let me preface with this one from Ben Gessling. Jahmyr Gibbs gave up 7 pressures on 16 dropbacks, tied for the most by an RB since 2018. I will also add this, 11 pressures from off-ball linebackers, most in the league.
You took it.
2021. It was Wilson, Cashman, a little bit of Ivan Pace, blitzing up the middle, wearing down the running backs, who did not have a lot of juice yesterday. Gibbs neutralized, Montgomery fumbled, really outstanding work, and a way for Flores to, Arif, we talked about how dangerous blitzing against this team was, and he looked at that and he said, not only will I call you, I will raise you, and I will blitz even more than you thought that I would. It was really, really unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a really remarkable game. We actually didn't see very much defensive linemen being put into the A-gap, which did free up these linebackers to continually occupy either side of the center, which led to the cross-dog blitzes that created a lot of these pressures. This is why we saw a bunch of great stuff from Eric Wilson, from Blake Cashman, from a pressure production standpoint. I think it was also pretty interesting because that pushed Jalen Redmond out to playing over the tackle a lot, right? That was, I think, pretty stunning stuff. So, I don't know, it was an incredible performance from the defense all around. I think a lot of it had to do with the way the front seven was aligned, the fact that I don't know about lucky, but the fact that they didn't have to worry too much about the fact that Jeff Okudah was injured because they were going to be in some kind of heavy personnel throughout the game just because of the way the Lions set up. Gave them opportunities not just to have Eric Wilson and Blake Cashman on the field, but also sometimes Ivan Pace. It also allowed them to put 3 defensive linemen on the field instead of 2. And they are just better living there than they are necessarily having to play against 11 personnel all the time. So a pretty good matchup in terms of the things that they wanted to do, things that they needed to do. But also, I think, astounding game plan. Some kind of whenever we see people mugging the A-gaps, you were always kind of reminded of Mike Zimmer. Some elements of that, especially with the edge rushers kind of dropping off into coverage. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of interesting because the next gen stats thing coming from the broadcast was they're not blitzing that much. And then you take a look at what PFF is saying, which, different charting organizations will define things differently. And PFF is there's a 60% blitz rate in this game. And it's it depends on if you're counting spies, if it's whether or not you're counting people who cross the line of scrimmage and then maybe drop back. But a lot of it is these linebackers are pushing forward, these edge defenders are pushing back, right? Andrew Van Ginkel had I think 12 snaps in coverage, right? Out of the 27 snaps against the pass in general that he had. We had some from Dallas Turner, we had some from Jonathan Grenard. Really, I think, creative game plan in the sense of this is not really how the Vikings have done this a lot, but also kind of a throwback to what the Vikings have been doing kind of historically. Really fun.
Yeah. Inman, I thought of the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's snapping, pointing at the TV. That's Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer's whoa, Eric Wilson in the A-gap? Whoa, yeah. I've seen that before.
Right. Yeah, just need Harrison Hand out there on the boundary. That's it. That's the only piece you're missing. Next gen stats, 10 different defenders recording at least one pressure. Just kind of goes back to Arif's point. Generated pressure rate of 47.6%. That was a season high 5 sack. Lions had a season worse, I guess you'd call it. 10 penalties, 5 sacks, 10 plays for negative yardage as well. Just goes to, again, attest just to how dominant, and I think what a sound game plan, not just bringing pressure, but bringing pressure where you got to get it after Jared Goff in the pocket interior wise too, right? In that A gap, like Arif mentioned. So Eric Wilson led the team with 6 pressures, 2 sacks on 17 pass rushes. I know we're going to get in a defensive game MVP. Tough to pick one guy though. I think if I had to pick one though, I'd probably be Eric Wilson at the end of the day.
I agree. He was out there.
I have to pick Blake Cashman. That was outstanding.
Both had an unbelievable day. Wilson probably had some missteps in coverage, couple missed tackles, but it just felt like his fingerprints were all over he made those splash plays that changed drives, that derailed drives for Detroit. Cashman was really good too, though.
Yeah,
the fumble, man. 14 tackles in the fumble.
Yeah, the fumble was huge. The reason I want to pick Cashman is A, the splash of the fumble. B, I think, Wilson wasn't on there on every snap. Cashman was, and I think that there's like a reason for that, and I think kind of the plays that don't occur are also plays that maybe there wasn't a giant tackle for loss, but nobody got over the middle on mesh, and we just don't see that target not happening, right? That's just the nature of defense. I think Cashman played a really big role in that. He was targeted, I think, 3 times in coverage for 5 total yards or something like that. Really outstanding performance from him from a coverage perspective. I think Wilson's missed tackles are not a huge deal to me. A lot of them occurred in the backfield, which then led to other people getting a tackle for loss. I think missed tackles at the line of scrimmage, unless you're in a front that has one safety back there and no second level players or something like that, are just not a huge deal to me. I think they're net positives for the defense, and that's a lot of what Eric Wilson was doing. But when you compare it to the outstanding 14 tackle game that Cashman had, where a lot of his tackles were not a result of him giving up, these yards in coverage, it's hard for me to avoid that. Plus also, like we mentioned, the fumble, plus also obviously the pressures that he produced. But I think making sure that everyone is right in their run fits was so critical in this game. And Cashman is perfect at that. So I have to go with Cashman. Wilson had an outstanding game.
I've got one more nerdy stat of the day of Eric Wilson, but I got to play the graphic, though, to make it official.
Analytics fans rejoice. It's time to get educated.
Whoa, you're blowing my mind right now.
With the nerdy stat of the day.
Only 3 inside linebackers have blitzed more times in a game this year. Frankie Louvu twice.
That's his job.
And Derek Barnes 1 time.
Also his
Derek
job.
Wilson,
okay.
18 times yesterday.
That's so funny because Barnes and Louvu are the Anthony Barrs of this generation in that they are primarily pass rushing linebackers, just like Ivan Pace. And then there's Eric Wilson, who was a safety in college.
Braun, talk some defense to us. What do you got?
So my nerdy stat comes from the 33rd team. There are 7 teams right now that have a 40% or more pressure generation rate. The Vikings, not only are they one of them, they are number 1. 45.8% pressure through week 9 they have generated. They're getting to the quarterback, and obviously what they've done on the interior has a lot to do with that. So this last few weeks of defensive meltdown, a big part of it has been that teams have used heavy personnel to essentially encourage the Vikings to take their pass rushing D tackles off the field. So Javon Hargrave's going off the field. Jonathan Allen's even going off the field as they bring out 6 O-line, 3 tight ends, fullbacks, extra guys, right? And so the Lions did the same thing. But the bold thing that Flores did was not take Hargrave off the field in those situations.
38, 39 snaps. Yeah, incredible.
Yeah. And so he did have to take on doubles the way that he has not been able to for the whole season. And he split them, and he made plays, and he held his ground, and he did fantastically. allowing everything else to kind of work out a whole lot better than it was. It's like a really clutch performance from Javon Hargrave when the Vikings really needed it, because their plan for this heavy personnel in the past had not been working. They needed these guys to step up, and they did.
Yeah,
40 total snaps for Hargrave between the Chargers and the
it was
Eagles
one off.
game. Yeah. Well,
And he played that much yesterday. Crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder if they were taking a look at how Hargrave was doing, and we're just like, hey, for this game, we don't need you to hold the double. We need you to split it. And I wonder if, they decided to take a different approach from the way that Hargrave is, because he can't hold a double. He can't anchor down, right? Mind you, the Lions' interior was not that great this year compared to last year. And then, of course, one of them got injured over the course of the game. So maybe that plays a role too. But I just wonder if it was just like, hey, we need you to be more aggressive against doubles because that's where you win. And then we're really comfortable with who we have at linebacker to kind of clean that up. Whereas before, maybe with Ivan Pace back there, without Blake Cashman back there, they really wanted him to kind of hold that double, get a knee down, and anchor. And that's just not where he lives. So I wonder if there was also like a coaching point here where it was just like, we need you to be more aggressive, and we'll actually have some other people kind of make up for what happens when you try to backdoor and it doesn't work.
I get the feeling that game plan will not work against Lamar Jackson. Just forcing him to the outsides of the field, that's like a recipe for disaster.
Deeply different quarterback, yeah.
I don't think
sure they'll come up with
it's
something
gonna
else.
Yeah. But no, keep Jalen Redmond at edge defender, though. That actually...
Sack leader, Jalen Redmond.
Sack leader. I was just going to say that, 4 sacks. Also,
Pay
Levi
that
Drake
man.
Rodriguez, too, with a great game as well.
Great performance, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Little bit of, we've said Brian Flores is the safety whisperer. And I know there's kind of a big whiff on Brian Asamoah, but they've gotten a lot out of linebackers. Maybe it's Equazi's the whisperer, because they've identified Cashman. They've identified Wilson. Kamu Grugier-Hill was good in relief last year. They got a lot out of Jordan Hicks relative to, I think, where Jordan Hicks was in his career. It's been a good run, these interior guys, especially at value, I would say. Like Wilson, unbelievable value right now. Cashman, value. Just really good offseason work.
I think you're right. I think one of the things that will complicate this is that a lot of people who don't like Kwesi will say, well, actually, Brian Flores identified that guy, and it was just Kwesi's job to sign him, which obviously there's always a conversation between the two, right? But I think that when it comes to player acquisition, we're well positioned to just kind of primarily put it on the general manager and the pro scouting staff. And I think that you're right. I think that the acquisition of linebackers has been really, really astounding. I think that, I don't know, like Kwesi gets a bad rap from fans, and I totally understand why, because drafting is kind of like the preferred method for building your team. But the job is not drafting. The job is building a team. And I think in terms of fielding rosters that are talented and competitive, Kwesi has done a good job. Now, the lack of drafting means it's probably not sustainable. Sure. But like, the team has talent, and he's the general manager. I don't know.
Hey, didn't he draft Troy Dye? Isn't Troy Dye out there playing football somewhere?
I can't quite give them all the flowers on like personnel stuff, because they had spent so much of this year trying to figure out who is good on their team. If they finally found the formula, like great, but it's past Halloween. Why didn't we know who was good week one? Like maybe we could have done a little better in some of those games, but
that's a coaching decision. The who plays what? That's
sure,
a coaching decision.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the unit as a whole.
Okay.
And kind of an own goal to have this like really exciting Brian Asamoah thing, and then just kind of like usher him quietly out of the organization for a guy you're going to bench a year and a half later. I don't know. I can't quite like say I love the process here, but
that's not fair. Brian Asamoah was drafted. We know that doesn't count. It's only undrafted free agents and pro free agents.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've got questions. All right.
Kobe King's gone.
Great game.
Oh, Kobe King!
Kobe King.
Yeah, Kobe King. Another nice.
That is a GM decision.
Trying to sneak him onto the practice squad because you can't possibly bear to cut Tavierre Thomas
or Austin Keys.
Those guys are
key special teamer. Tavierre Thomas. We'll get into him. I've got some
impactful special teamer for sure.
Very impactful
is a word. Question in the chat: have the Vikings made a stop on 4th down this year? They have made 3. They are 3 of 11
They
stopping
made
fourth downs.
3.
Hey,
not any on Sunday, but they made 3 this season. Yeah.
26th in the league in fourth down defense. Not excellent. We'll also answer this question: will the Vikings be buyers or sellers before tomorrow's deadline? Plus, I've got some halfway stats that we can extrapolate. It's not halfway, I get that, but 17 is a prime number.
Sure.
We are brought to you today by Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today. See parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. The Part Finder tool is key. 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Take advantage of that technology. The next day delivery, super convenient. Don't have to wait for, supply chain issues and delays. Next day. Join the free Trademaster program today. Score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Since it came up, Javier Thomas, here's one of my halfway stats. I went return by return, and I have determined that Miles Price is on pace for having 19 penalties called against the Vikings on his returns. He has 9 so far.
Oh, so before this week, I did this math for Norse Code, and the Vikings lead the league in penalties incurred on kickoff returns, in total penalties incurred, but also in percentage of penalties incurred on kickoff returns, right? And it was before this game, 21.9% of returns, which is to say more than 1 in every 5 returns had a penalty on the return unit somewhere, which is so cool. We love that, don't we?
Is there a big gap between 1 and 2? Like just
there's no gap between 1 and 2 because it's the Chiefs at 20%, but there's a huge gap between 2 and 3.
Okay.
Because it's like
so it's just us and the Chiefs. Hey, that's good company.
Yeah, sure.
Got that DNA. Got that DNA.
Yeah, got that DNA.
Maybe the Chiefs also spent their time practicing something other than blocking on kickoffs.
It's kind of like you see Patrick Mahomes and you try to imitate that, but you're Dylan Raiola.
We don't need to speak ill of the dead.
Price has lost a 54-yarder against Pittsburgh, a 37-yarder against Cleveland, a 46 and 42-yarder against the Chargers, and a 99-yarder yesterday. Over 300 yards lost total.
Some of the I get that tracking that is like impactful for people, but some of those would not happen without the penalties.
Right, yeah. The hold, for example, actually seemed to have played a role.
Yeah, like the 99-yard touchdown is not going there if Thomas doesn't hold. But the kickoff return unit does not know how to block. They get blown up consistently, which leads to holding penalties, right? Somebody blows past you, and all you can do is grab and tug. Otherwise, he's going to be tackled at the 10-yard line, and honestly, the holding penalty's better. So I think the problem runs a little deeper than just being undisciplined or being sloppy. You're really, really bad at a thing. I have been in the camp for a while that the Vikings need to reevaluate who they have on their kickoff returns, because right now it's a bunch of safeties and linebackers trying to be blockers, and it's bad.
Here's the good.
I would
Miles Price is a dude.
He's a dude.
Miles Price is definitely a dude.
Question mark.
Yeah, pretty wrong about him coming out of camp. I was like, this idiot.
Yeah.
He's gonna make all kinds of mistakes.
Not catching him clean in camp. All right, you were not.
Yeah, everyone's made the point. He might not have the yardage if they didn't hold. I would venture to say
sometimes he would. Sometimes the penalty is immaterial to the play on an excellent return that gets called back. So sometimes, you're right that we shouldn't just take the stat at face value, but there are good returns that have been taken back because someone else didn't even impact the play and committed a penalty, which are the most frustrating of all, of course.
I would like a mic'd up compilation of the Vikings player that has to put his arm around Miles, who's celebrating his return, and pat him on the helmet and say, "Sorry, dude. Nice job.
Next time.
Penalty.
Laundry.
Penalty.
Next time.
Walk
You got
back.
laundry.
You got 90
That's
yards
leadership.
to walk back, bro."
Leadership.
It's just like
And you're-
just like one of those like the nonprofit, like they're not really advertising anything except just a generic value like dependence, reliability, leadership, and it's just a Vikings player being like, "Hey man,
Ben
good work,
Yurosek.
bud." You're a sec. Hey, love the hustle.
Here's the thing.
Yeah. I'm just going to give it to you straight. Tavier did it again.
Javier did it again, huh?
He's been guilty a lot. Other halfway stats. Brought this up earlier. The leading sack getter on this team, on pace for 8, and it's Jalen Redmond. Meanwhile, Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel Van Ginkel's only played in a couple of games. Grenard
come
is
on,
on
Sam.
pace for 4. Grenard is on pace for
This is
4.
like a weird
but he
DJ
is on
Wanham year.
pace. Yeah, he's on pace for 20 though, like where he was close.
He's going pace for
Yeah,
20.
he's on a Hall of
Close.
Fame
Gotta-
pace for that.
Gotta
He'll
hand on him.
he'll finish the season with like 12. Don't worry.
It's like a
about
Daniil Hunter year. It's like nothing ever changed.
it.
You're saying
Yeah, it's
positive regression.
Inman. It is like a reverse DJ Wanham year, right? Because it's like
Right.
he's doing all the work, and then someone else gets a sack, and it's like, well, I'm glad that someone got it. Well, sometimes they don't. Jalen Hurts just like if Grenard wasn't getting him, then it was like a 40-yard play.
Yeah. Or Justin Herbert would just go run into the vacant middle of the field that they had every play.
Yeah, that's not wonderful. Don't do that.
I had a
is my-
schematic suggestion for that one. Seems
my
like they papered it over.
Yeah.
Jordan Addison, I took into account the 3 games he missed, so he's going to play 14 games. If he plays the 14, he is on pace for exactly 1,000 yards. Exactly 1,000 yards. He's on pace for 12-14 in a 17-game pace. Pretty productive. Justin Jefferson on pace for 13-79.
That is
Decent
important to me personally.
Decent year. That would crush
Can
the
I just say,
over-under.
go back to Jordan Addison? His ball
Yeah.
tracking skills have been working overtime this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
What was the over?
Got one more.
1,200.
1250.
1250.
Jesus
12.
Christ.
Yeah. He's had
Well, I
some,
mean,
some like
the-
no-show games though. I shouldn't call them no-shows because it's
No-show.
probably like doubles and stuff. But and sometimes it's that the offense can't figure out how to get the ball out of the quarterback's hand at all. But like
Hey,
there have been
the-
some like this will not be a statistical year like 2022 was for sure.
Yeah, I mean that first game of the season, like Jefferson was really actually playing behind his level of talent. This game was just like, hey, maybe don't throw it that high.
So the Vikings are on pace for 6.4 interceptions this year.
What's the
If
0.4?
they end odd
Okay.
calculation there because there's 17 games.
All right,
If they end with 6, that would tie the franchise low. Franchise low was set in 1970. 6 interceptions.
huh? Like in the middle of their like defensive run. Well, probably
They
because
just
no one was
stacked-
throwing the ball
They
back.
stacked the quarterback way too much. Yeah.
Yeah, no one was throwing the ball back then.
Let's get to Jay in the comments. I did want to get to this. Will they be buyers or sellers tomorrow? I think that winning yesterday does matter a little bit. The division suddenly got a lot tighter. You're a game and a half back of the Packers, and you play them in 2 weeks. I think that buyer is on the table, and it might not be a big buy, but I think adding some piece, some depth piece is on the table.
Yeah, I went into this on the post-game show yesterday. But for me, the trade deadline it's not the NBA where like there's haves and there's have-nots, and the have-nots all give their players away to the haves, and then the contenders all like go on a shopping spree. It's a lot more about individual like contract situations in terms of like who's available and stuff. Like you will see teams well in a playoff run like trade away a starter because the contract situation is that they're going to get let go next year, and you're only trading away 8 games, and the value is different. So I could honestly see either. I could still see somebody like Ivan Pace getting dealt because he was a starter. He's getting benched. They're probably not going to pay him now. And they might want to try to eke out value out of that. I could also see them go be a buyer, go find somebody like we were joking about a center, go find some corner or something like that could help them out to fill in, especially with these really scary concussion issues they have with some people they were going to rely on. So I could definitely see either of those things. The only thing I'm pushing back on is I just don't think it matters if they're 3-5 or 5-3 or 4-4 or 6-1. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Center, I've tossed out Yelda Froholt from Arizona. Arizona could be 2-6 after tonight. He's also got a pretty fair contract for next year as well. Don't know if Arizona wants to part ways. I don't know if they have a backup. That's also a thing. A lot of teams don't just have someone that can step in and just be that guy. These rosters are not huge. They're not limitless. That matters as well. Like, you're just going to give away a center and leave maybe you have a franchise quarterback back there. Maybe you have someone to protect, right? This is all part of the consideration.
Like the Titans are probably not trading away any offensive linemen. Like, I think that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they need a body at corner. I mean, if the only recourse is to call up Fabian Moreau, you can't even trust Dwight McGlothern. I think
Moreau only got targeted once.
Shut down Island.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah. Moreau, the island of Fabian
That's
Moreau.
Right. We're back.
Cut that island. Let's go.
Oh, man. I was mad at Isaiah Rodgers yesterday on an island. That whiff on James, was it Williams? I think it was Williams.
I don't think he played. I don't think he played well, but also we should acknowledge that was very clearly offensive pass interference, and it's very difficult to play well when somebody gets a full extension push off right onto your shoulder pad. Again,
down. Yep.
Yeah, and again, that sometimes that's going to happen, and you're going to have to be a better corner than that, because it's not always going to get called. So I do want to say, hey, there is something here for us to criticize Isaiah Rodgers for on that play, because initially it looked like he wasn't tracking the ball well and he slowed down, and it was like, what are you doing, man? The ball is but like, that's not exactly what happened, but he still should have been able to fight through it, or he should have had better hand fighting. Very difficult task when it's being penalized, but we should acknowledge that there was an uncalled penalty there. And I've had most people in my mentions, say like, hey, they probably should have called it. But there are a couple of people in my mentions be like, well, that happens on every play. Or Justin Jefferson pushes off all the time, which actually the better argument is Adam Thielen does. But I think there's a difference. Anymore. Yeah, well, right. He would, right?
Were he, yeah.
Yeah. But I think there's a difference between kind of like these subtle push-offs that are by rule illegal, but not called because we understand that it would be kind of part of the game. And these kinds of push-offs, which I genuinely think the league doesn't want, and they just didn't call it this time. So that's my take on the Isaiah Rodgers play there.
Yeah, the receivers get away with that so much that it's like hard to get super mad about not getting that call because it goes improperly uncalled so often. Just looking at the play, it looks like he turned his head when I think Jameson Williams kind of got him. Jameson Williams turned his head kind of early and then used the push off. He probably just should have used some acceleration to do that, because when you're playing corner, you turn your head when the receiver turns his head, right? Mm-hmm. So this was like a thing Randy Moss would do all the time. Was he would turn his head and then get the corner to look away and then go.
Yeah,
and
he's a real
kind of what
dickhead.
Jameson Williams was doing. I think he got a little bit.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. And that's just, you got and you got to play better. But I don't want to be as harsh as I was initially watching that, because that sucks.
Yeah, it's not the most like infuriating loss ever, even though it was a particularly impactful one.
Yeah.
I'm taking chat suggestions. Cordell Flott. Top 10 coverage grade on PFF, expiring contract with the Giants. He played 81 snaps in that Denver game that with the crazy comeback and allowed 2 for 10 when targeted. Cordell Flott, 24 years old. I'm all the way in on that.
I'm pretty sure he intercepted a Viking at some point.
How many sub 180-pound corners does this team need, Sam?
More. all of them.
I mean, I guess another one is better than not another one, but I'm just like, if I were targeting players, that's probably, and also Reek Williams is going to be hard to get now, but if I were targeting players, I feel like he's a little bit lower on my list of want to acquire, because he's low key in Emmanuel Forbes build wise, right? He's like 6'1", 6'2", and 175 pounds. Great that he's playing well, but like matchup wise, I'm really concerned about the Vikings.
But this is CB3 for half a season. We're not talking.
No, I get it. I'm just saying. Like, I'm not going to be mad if they acquire him, for sure. Absolutely not. I'm just saying, if I'm constructing a list, he's not at the top of it.
Wasn't an interception. I was thinking of a particularly key play he made in the 2022 playoff game with the Giants.
Ooh, how did he do in that game? He did really well in that game. I know he didn't play in that. He played 3 snaps in that game. That's why
he did really well.
High.
Yeah,
that's why his grade is so high.
There's a pass defense. I don't remember the details of it, but that's what's kicking around.
He does have a pass defense. In one of his 3 snaps, he made a huge impact.
Yeah,
of course.
And I was like, oh yeah, Cordell Flott, that guy.
Very Isaiah Rodgers of him.
He did play, though, a lot of the Week 16 game against Minnesota and also played well in that game. So he's got a history of playing well at US Bank Stadium.
Right, just like JJ McCarthy has a history of playing well inside the state of Michigan. Yeah, for sure.
I like where this is headed. I think we've got a trend. We got to get to Week 9 bet results. And we can also turn the page to Baltimore. Start talking Ravens. Big matchup coming up on Sunday. Be right back on the Squad Show. We're brought to you today by FanDuel. NBA's back. NFL is in full swing. No better place to get in the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. If you missed the start of the game, whether it's basketball or football, you want to get in the action live, that's available to you. Want to bet on a team to make a huge comeback? Absolutely on the table. Take those live lines. Combine the live bets into a same-game parlay. Shot at a big payout. Keeps the game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Head to FanDuel.com. Sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Luke Inman, you want to guess the Ravens-Vikings line if you haven't seen it already?
I'll guess Ravens by 2.5.
2.5.
Ravens are favored by 4.5.
Oh, I was going to go by 5.
That moves from yesterday. It was 3.5 yesterday.
I guess the bettors really weren't all that impressed with JJ McCarthy's game.
Yeah, they all looked at the box score.
Yeah, idiots.
The Vikings have a rest disadvantage like every game right now. You notice that? The Vikings are off of a 1.5 week break. Oh, the Lions had 2 weeks off. Ravens are on a 1.5 week break, coming off the Miami win.
Well, it worked this week, so
there you go.
We'll just keep rolling with it.
They're just rusty. Yeah. Come on.
Did you know the Lions the last 2 years scored 88 points coming out of their bye? 44 points per game.
Wow. And they would crush teams at home this year too.
Yeah. Matt Derry on the crossover actually theorized that this would happen because of how the Lions played off the bye in the playoffs. They were they kind of got a little bit complacent off the bye and they were rested too much. And he was worried the same thing would happen. And sure enough, he emailed me. He was like, I told you.
Wasn't it weird that they didn't practice on Wednesday off a bye?
Yeah.
Their Wednesday practice report was an estimate. That was strange to me.
That was very
I'm no coach, but I do feel pretty convicted in my take that teams are better when they practice. And we've seen a lot of evidence of that this year, that when you practice, you play better.
Yeah, but also on the other hand, every time we hear a coach say, we had a really great week of practice, it was one of the best weeks of practice we've ever had, they're about to get blown out by 30 points. So
that's clearly they're just
you don't want to hear that it was a great practice. You just want to hear that they practice.
We had a practice and it was honestly awful.
To your point, Sam, one of my listeners actually went through every single game in rest advantage and disadvantage. We have a rest disadvantage in 4 games, and an advantage in only 2 this year, not counting the disadvantage that comes from, the Thursday night West Coast thing that seems to always get them, or the advantage that came from being in London for an extra week when the Browns came. But just in terms of like rest days, which is pretty bad. I feel like the schedule makers usually try to make that pretty even.
The Ravens are 3-5. They were 1-5. They had their bye week. They've come out. They beat the Bears. They beat the Dolphins. Lamar is back. If they ran the table, would anybody be surprised? It'd be classic Ravens.
Lamar's insane. Going into
I'd be a little surprised.
Going into last week's Thursday night game with the Dolphins, they were favored at 1-5 to win the division.
It's a bad division.
Yeah,
maybe it was 2-5.
They're only
maybe
like a game and a half out.
Was it 1-5 or 2-5?
They were 2-5 going into Thursday, so
they were
2-5.
favored to win the AFC North.
Yeah, behind by like 3 games.
That?
Yeah, I was on a national podcast a couple days ago when they're like, do you think the Ravens have a chance to win the division? And I was like, yeah, I know they're like 3 wins behind, but like, what 100%? That division is butt cheeks. Like,
and 2 games between the Ravens and Steelers still, and 2 games back. Yeah, they control their own destiny.
Yeah,
better Super Bowl odds. Better Super Bowl odds than the Patriots by a lot. Like,
the Patriots are
above
the
Patriots,
still,
the Buccaneers, the Chargers, the 49ers. And way above the Steelers. The Steelers are plus 7,000. The Ravens are plus 1,800.
Yeah, I mean, people have evaluated how the Steelers played. I mean, the only good game the Steelers had this year was this week, and they didn't do any of the stuff defensively that they normally do. And I don't think that that's going to continue in terms of like producing the trends that have helped them. So, bad teams.
You take a trip through memory lane against the Ravens. Some awesome games, including the most awesome game.
09?
The snow game.
The snow game.
Snow game. Well, 09 was great too. That was the Steven Hauschka miss at the buzzer at Metrodome to give the Vikings a 6-0 record. The snow game in 13 with
Jacoby
32 points scored in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. I'm going to remember that game for the rest of my life.
Toby Gerhart up the middle.
Yeah.
Gerhart.
Toby. Just Cordell Patterson dropping back the pass and deciding within a millisecond that he's not about that life is so good.
And then that one cut, foot in the ground and gone.
Yeah. He's the only one that had 4-wheel drive. Everyone else was slipping.
Who was the Ravens quarterback?
You can't even see where the lines are.
Flacco. Had to be Flacco.
I think it was Flacco. It had to be Flacco, yeah. Back when Flacco had the juice. Now, when Flacco has the juice. So what a game that was, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. That was very similar, honestly. Flacco's like, whoa, deja vu here with that Bears game. Someone came in 2017 in the year the Vikings defense was incredible. I don't know, maybe it was Flacco, but the Vikings owned that game pretty easily. But then 21.
They killed the Ravens in 2017. And it was one of those that turned into a 1-score game because they were down 14 and scored with literal zeros on the clock.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. Love that.
Eked it out. 1-score game.
Probably a backdoor cover somehow for them, too.
Was that, did that help engineer? No, never mind. I got the years wrong. But yeah, that was.
The Ravens were like super off that year.
And then the 21 was crazy.
21 was.
Yeah, that was the
so
CJ
crazy.
Ham high point. I'll never forget it.
I think they both entered that game having over the past 2 years number 1 and number 2 in close game wins. So like in a sense it was a title game.
A championship of sorts.
Of sorts. Yeah.
Wongwu had a kickoff return. Cousins had a last-minute drive for a TD. Did they have a chance to win in overtime? I can't remember if the Vikings got the ball and failed to. Yeah, failed to move it, and then I think the Ravens walked off.
It was at the very end of overtime, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, it was tie-ish. Yeah,
deep into OT.
We're still on the trend, by the way, that if the Vikings beat the Ravens, they go to the NFC Championship, and if they lose to the Ravens, they fire their coach. That's been true since 2000.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. And it's also followed home and away too. Like they always lose the road game but win the home game. So get your playoff tickets.
98, that was true. 2000, that was true. 2017, that was true. And 9. Oh my gosh, 4 in a row.
2009.
What?
You can't fight it.
Trend.
Just buckle
You,
in.
you
No, it's
can't. You
cosmic.
can't fight it. Yeah. I am ready to be hurt again, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll dive way more into the Ravens on Thursday's show. Bet results. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. I had 2 parlays that went 1 of 2. Jordan Mason was 3 yards short of going over.
Such a
And
bad
I need
beat because he had
Yeah.
the hole on
Jahmyr
that one.
Gibbs.
Yeah.
Had the hole on that one. Oh.
He might have got it all on that one.
Mm-hmm.
You just imagine if McCarthy was calling plays correctly in the huddle, how many you would have had, Sam?
Would have like 3 more carries.
Vegas knows.
That could have busted off
Vegas
for like
knows.
40 yards on its own.
Yeah.
Arif gained a little bit of money on
$36.
Amon Ra
Let's
St.
go.
25 plus yards both halves. Lost on Jefferson over. Braun lost the first half spread. Got ARSB with the over 70. Lost a little bit of money. And Luke Inman lost your big Gibbs bet. And you got your Aaron Jones receiving yards like right away.
Yeah.
Lost a little money.
Yeah, 13.5, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They did. I believe they changed a reception into carry, and he still hit.
No, he's still- I was
I
gonna
saw
say, that
yeah,
big
because the
31
rushing
yarder
numbers looked a little inflated, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, that big 31-yarder was behind the line, but behind the
Yeah.
quarterback. So that was actually a toss.
With
Yeah.
Gibbs, it's like, oh, it just takes one play, any play. But it really felt like, man, this is going to be a struggle all day long, early on, like after the first couple drives. That one didn't even come close.
But it was nice to once again be the only person who made money this week, a whole $36. That's McDonald's DoorDash, I think. So
Real money.
Like half a one. Yeah.
yeah, it's half a McDonald's.
Like a snack wrap or something.
Yeah, get the chicken McNugget kids meal for sure.
Yeah.
Luke Braun still has a sizable lead. Andrew Sendejo did indeed take Mike Wallace's head off in that 2017 game. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it helps that Mike Wallace had formerly played for the Vikings, so Sendejo knew who to aim for.
He knew his route. He knew where he was going to snap that route off.
Very hard to evaluate this Ravens team, I would say, by virtue of Lamar. I don't know, how many games has Lamar missed? He's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So he's missed
So
Lamar?
he missed. Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't played 5, has he?
Has he? It says he's played 5.
Okay.
So he missed the Texans game. They got smoked. Missed the Rams game. Got smoked. They
And the
won.
Bears game, right?
They won the Bears game without him.
Yeah. Tyler Huntley, right? Because the other two were Cooper Rush, right? And that one was Tyler Huntley.
Yes. Yep.
Yep. That's correct.
Hey, man, Snoop made a Pro Bowl. They should have had him all 3 games.
Yeah, this is a worrisome game, though. Ravens need it.
Tough.
It's going to be really tough. Full deep dive on Thursday on the Squad Show with Luke Inman, Luke Braun, Arif Hasan. I'm Sam Ekstrom. Thanks for watching, listening, commenting, and subscribing. We really appreciate that. Thanks to all who watched the post game yesterday. That was awesome. We do the post game after every single Minnesota Vikings game with Ron Johnson joining that as well. He'll join on Thursday when this show returns. Luke Inman in the host chair again on Thursday. I'm out. So I will talk to you next week on the Squad Show. For the rest of you, we'll see you Thursday.